So it's a couple of hours before I go see The Crow 2024. Yes, with Bill Skarsgård. And look, I'm a huge fan of the original movie. I have it on DVD, I have it on Blu-ray, I have it on 4K. And of course, look, I had the VHS back in the day as well. So I'm a huge fan. But here's the thing. I kept looking at it like, look, another remake, seriously? But at the same time, I'm thinking, what if they just take the story of The Crow, right? And they just bring it into today's world, right? Just the same way that there's this, heavily industrial, almost, well, let's be honest, Trent Reznor kind of look to Brandon Lee in The Crow. Maybe that's what this is. It's just a reimagining for today's audience. So look, I'm trying to keep an open mind. Let's see how it goes. No, seriously. It's not that it's bad. It's just that I don't understand why this was done the way it was. There's some strange choices in this movie. I was just looking through the comic that this is, that The Crow comes from, right? All of it comes from this. And yeah, there's nothing like the movie that I just saw. So it's kind of like, I don't understand. I mean, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I actually thought the acting across the board was pretty good. I mean, for what the script asks those actors to do, I think they do it. I think they do it well. You got Bill Skarsgård, who plays Eric Draven, but this is a different Eric than we've ever seen before. Now, you could say, well, then, why did just like the sequels, why didn't they just start with new characters? So not Eric and Shelly, but new characters. I'm asking myself that same question. But what I will say is when Eric finally does become who he's supposed to be, it's actually pretty effective. I mean, I thought there's one scene in particular, one big set piece that I have to say was pretty fun to watch. It really was. And like I said, FKA Twigs as Shelly, she does a fine job with what she's given. Yeah, I will say that. And I think Danny Houston, with what he's given, he's done a fine job. The problem is with the script. Why go through this and change things? Now, you could argue, well, this is that was 30 years ago. This movie came out 30 years ago. So why not make this movie for a new audience? I would love to hear from them. I really would. I would love to hear from someone who's never seen The Crow before, who saw the trailer and said, I want to go see that, and what they think of it. Because I got to say, there was nothing in here that gave me the same sort of feeling that the original movie did. It's really odd. Like, for example, the way that this movie starts out and the way that the comic starts out is basically you're seeing the aftermath of what happens, right? Of, how all this gets going. I don't want to do spoilers just in case somebody hasn't seen the original, but everything has already happened. Your entry into the world of what's going on and how everything's going to go down is because you're introduced to two characters that are really, really important to telling this story. And that's Sergeant Albrecht and Sarah. We don't have a character like this here. Instead, we get about 35, 40 minutes of Eric and Shelly meeting each other and falling in love. And man, that seems to take a really long time. The weird thing about this is that you could argue that the original Crow has a supernatural element to it. Sure. But it still feels rather grounded, right? And there's also, I don't know. I don't know what you call it. I guess verisimilitude, which is basically the feeling of the world, right, that we're in. I don't get anything from this. It feels very standard. It feels very fine. Like there's nothing that makes me really interested. It's just kind of, I don't know. There's something there that piece of it is actually missing. The other big thing that's missing is where's the humor? Like there's no levity in this movie. It's so serious. Like you don't have a T-Bird or Skank or Fun Boy or even Tintin. I mean, you don't have a Michael Wincott. You don't have a Tony Todd. You don't have a John Polito, right? You don't have any of that here. So it's just all droll all the time, and there's no break from it. So it just weighs you down. But yeah, this supernatural element is above and beyond what we got in The Crow, and it gives it a completely different feeling. So my biggest I think the biggest issue here isn't the fact that this is called The Crow. It really isn't. It's the fact that they're using the characters Eric and Shelly. Like that is my biggest single issue. Like why would you do that? You might say, "Well, Rob, that's ridiculous. Why would you compare it to something that it can never be?" Right? It's not going to be the original movie. This is a new movie. So why would you compare it? Okay. Well, it's called The Crow. The characters are Eric and Shelly. And the other thing is, I am judging it on its own merits, and I can't. It was slow. It was slow, and it was like, would you just get going, please? Please, can we move on from this? There are a lot of there are a lot of shots that seem to take a really long time. As it stands, I would say if you're a fan of that original movie, The Crow, and you are looking, oh, well, maybe this, like me, you think, oh, well, this is just like a reimagining for today. I would say don't. I'm sorry. I say don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. I don't think it's going to be for you. It's going to be for people who have never seen The Crow before and they don't have anything to compare it against. Maybe it works that way, but for me, it just didn't work for me. I'm sorry. It didn't work for me at all. So, The Crow 2024. Have you seen it and what did you think of it? Please don't worry about getting, blasted in the comments because that's not going to happen here. I'm genuinely curious for those of you who have never seen the original if you went and saw this and you liked it. I would love to know. I want to hear from you and I want to see through your eyes, you know what I mean? That's the beauty of art is sometimes it takes someone else, to kind of show you the way. I can't see the way for this one. So I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.